this omnidirectional? Unidirectional?
I think it
can be.
Is it going to be able to pick all of us up?
There's a switch on the back to change it. I think it's the circle.
I know, like with some of them, if you're if you're behind half
I believe so.
field line, then
won't it'll cut you off.
Yeah, it'll cut you off.
Hello. Oh wow, it's different. Yeah.
Is it getting all of us?
Hello, hello.
Cool. I guess it's good.
So that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Peek behind the curtain. Let's see if we can do some focus.
Yeah?
Yep.
All right. This is going to be probably the strangest conversation because we've been around each other for the last, 4 or 5 days?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's do it then. All right. What's up, Internet? This is the Making Geeks Podcast, a podcast for makers, families, and geeks. And before anybody else says anything, I think this is probably one of the most unique episodes that we're ever doing for the podcast. And it's probably the one that I'm most excited for. So I'm hoping that all of you feel the same way. And hopefully you're seeing this on the YouTube channel, because right now you should have a very interesting view on the video that we are all here in North Carolina at the famous geeksmithing shop.
Welcome, guys. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Not official here. Nobody's seen that before and probably will never see it again.
And it is not green screen,
It is not.
as some people might have been led to believe.
So, what have you guys been up to?
Yeah. What has everybody been up to?
I still have Stranger Things on the brain.
Why is that?
Donovan, why don't you talk about that, since we watched it because of you?
Yeah, we did watch it because of me. I've never seen Stranger Things, even though I've had several recommendations from people way smarter than me that I need to watch this, and I haven't watched it yet. And so they decided to fix that for me, and it was amazing. So we watched the entirety of season 1 yesterday.
In a single day.
In a single day. It was glorious. I loved it.
And we also shouldn't gloss over the fact that we have somebody else here.
I get to come back to the show. Hey, everybody.
What's up, Josh? It's like a recurring guest.
That would be cool.
What is that called? Where like the person leaves the show and comes back later on.
It's called inconsistent.
Inconsistent guest. Inconsistent host.
But it also feels nostalgic.
No, this was like a grown-up slumber party.
Yeah.
We got to come to Wes's house and hang out. We made some stuff. We played around with all Wes's toys. We stayed up late playing video games and watching 80s nostalgia horror shows.
Giggling around till 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And other stuff.
Yep. Yeah, it's been super fun. This is the first of many, I imagine. We're going to spread this around, or is it always going to be
I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Next one's at my house.
If the last year and a half's taught me anything, it's just do it as often as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Don't take it for granted, right?
Yeah.
Distance.
Alternate hosting.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
The distance is easier to overcome than you might imagine. Just if you just do the effort, right? Make a concerted effort to do it.
Do you want to talk about how we broke into somebody's house?
That would be good. Yeah, let's start there.
So set that up.
Yeah. So, I had many layers of complex planning as far as what people knew, of who was going to be here at what time, and I had to keep it all straight. And I slipped a little bit, but yeah, we wanted to sort of. Initially, the idea was to have Donovan and Sean here, and then I secretly also asked Josh if he wanted to come covertly to surprise those two guys. And then we were also I was also planning on surprising some other makers that are local to this area now. Nicole and Turi from When Geeks Craft. They were just expecting a normal hangout session, which we have usually once a week. And I set up so that we would go over to their house and not really break in per se, but surprise them.
No, you can say that.
It felt,
Okay,
like, it felt like a break-in.
okay.
I walked into someone's
true.
house uninvited sneakily.
Without their permission.
Yeah.
And it was even the trope to where they came to the door and we were in the car and we all
ducked super fast.
You did duck down.
Oh crap! Did she see us?
And we're not exactly small, so I'm kind
No.
of surprised we didn't get seen.
We were very, very limber. And our reflexes were very sharp.
Like
And
a
you
cat.
also have to set up the fact that you have this plan.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, I'm gonna walk inside and I'm gonna take them upstairs. And when I do, I'm gonna hit the button on my car so it'll lock the doors. And when you guys hear that, you'll know that it's time to get out. And when I hit it again, you'll know it's time to come inside. Well, that didn't work out quite too well.
No.
The second he walks in the door, he hits the button on his thing, and so we're like, oh, that's a signal. Let's get out. Let's go do this. And immediately right after, he hits it again, and we're like, okay, let's go. But apparently, it was unintentional.
So the stairs up to... So the plan was to walk them upstairs. It sounds like an assassination and like setup.
Yeah.
So the plan was to have an excuse to go up, to bring them upstairs so they wouldn't notice you guys coming in the front door. And their stairs that lead upstairs are right on the inside of the front door. So as I went in, I started going up the stairs with them behind me. And then they're like, no, wait. You have to take your shoes off now. Because the last time I was in their house, I was helping them move in. So I didn't know that was part of their protocol, was to take your shoes off, which is fine. I just didn't know. So I had to stop. I had hit the button as I was going up the stairs to let you guys know, hey, we're heading upstairs. And then I had to pause and take my shoes off. So then I hit the button a couple more times, which was not part of the original plan. It was sort of like a panic thing. Like, oh no, what am I
The car
going to do?
did start freaking out at one point. Like, maybe he's emphatically telling us to go. So let's go.
So we finally get Nicole and Turi upstairs, and I'm sort of, in retrospect, I am being a little bit squirrely with the way I'm acting. Not intentionally. I'm not even noticing I'm doing it, but I could tell the way she was responding to me. She was like looking at me weird. Like, why are you acting strange? And
Let's go upstairs for no apparent reason. Please follow me. Don't look at your door.
Clearly, I would be like a horrible covert agent. This is what this told me, if nothing else. But yeah, I finally get them upstairs, and I'm having them show me around their mostly finished like craft space, which I had never seen in that current state, except online. And so I'm like looking at all the pictures and stuff. I'm trying to divert their gaze away from the gigantic open window, like where they could easily see them cross.
Literally parked right in front of.
That we literally parked right in front of. That they could literally see you guys come across the driveway into their house. So I'm trying to like divert their attention opposite of that. And while I'm doing that, I think somewhat successfully, I hear the doorbell chime go off, which I'm looking at.
I didn't hit the doorbell.
No, but there was some sort of like motion activation thing. And I'm like, oh, if I just keep talking to them, maybe they won't notice that. And Nicole looks down at her phone, and yes, of course, them being technologically advanced, they have a ring system, which we didn't really plan for that contingency. We mentioned it, but
we mentioned it.
We didn't mention what would happen.
There's nothing we could do about it.
Yeah.
Right. In retrospect, I could have probably had some duct tape and slapped it on as they walked in, but considering how smoothly I did the rest of this stuff, you know that would have been a disaster unto itself. So she looks down at her phone. She's like, why do I... Wait, what, Josh? I see Josh. I'm like, wait, Josh is here? What? And then they just, like, completely bolt down the stairs like kids on Christmas morning, and they see you three guys, like, lounging in their, like, recliners and sofas and everything in the living room.
Yeah, because the plan was for us to, like, break into the house and just go sit down in the living room like we were just kind of hanging out, no big deal, and they walk back down and we'll be, hey, like, we're right there. But we go and we sit down, and the second we sit down, Josh! From upstairs, and then they come down. It was still great. Like, I'm not complaining.
Well, what made it better is that she knew that Josh was there, and when she looked down the hall, she could see Josh, and then we leaned over and peeked out.
That's true.
And that was a surprise.
Because she only
true.
saw Josh
Yes.
on the camera.
Yeah, because I was first up.
And that wasn't planned. That just happened to be that way.
I tried to cover up the camera, but it spotted me earlier than I thought.
And for anybody that's interested, you can find a video of this posted on the internet somewhere.
Yeah, Nicole
put it
posted it.
on Instagram, I think. Of us being smooth and then going, oh crap, there's a camera, and then I tried to cover it up 30 seconds after being identified on the camera.
Right. Don't mind me. I'm just Don't mind me, who I am. Don't look at who I am. Just know that I'm a harmless person coming in here. Don't recognize who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it way worse.
Disguise
That would have worked out so well.
We should have told them they won the contest. You win the
Or just
contest.
have, like, massive Wes's face.
Right. Or could, like zip tie and like cover their heads with cloth. Would be so hilarious.
Next time. It worked out really well, though.
Yeah.
And we had a maker meetup at your house.
Yep.
Had a bunch of people.
I don't even know how many people we had.
It was
We had
about
like
20, right?
something like that, 15
Yeah.
to 20, from people around the area that had no idea you guys were going to be here as
Mhm.
well. So that was kind of fun. And George and Emily from Technically Woodworking.
Mhm.
And
George brought his feet.
George
George
did.
But you know, when you come out to a cookout, do you want a side dish or a dessert or 3D printed feet? I think it's customary.
Yep. Bright green feet that cannot be missed. And then we had Jacob from Other Dog Designs
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
was there, and a
Dog is
docking
angry.
barg, docking barg, a very docking barg right now.
No, it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot of us have traveled or anything like that in the past year, and just being here and being together and having a meetup, one, makes me realize, like, how much I miss traveling and how much I would just miss being around people. Because in the before times, like, we had either Maker Faire or Workbench Con or whatever that we couldn't count on being that, like, jolt of social interaction with each other and creative boost and motivation and all that kind of stuff. And it was great. It's been so great being here.
And even, we've talked a lot before that whether it's like a woodworking show or Maker Faire or something else, it's always the lobby or the other get-togethers that really make those trips. And so we cut out all the extra stuff and just had the meetup. And it was great.
Maker Faire without the classes. Or no, Workbench Con without the classes.
There you go.
Maker Faire without the booth.
I mean, I could have charged like $300, $500 a head. That would have been
Yeah.
more realistic, I guess. But
Mhm.
and I would always say it could be like a Walmart greeters convention. It doesn't matter, like you said,
We'll get sponsors
what it
next
is.
time too.
Yeah, it's still fun, no matter what the reason is or what the excuse is to get us together. So
Mhm.
I just made an excuse to get us together.
We'll just have Sauce stop outside the house with a hot dog and make it official.
And then you just grill them afterwards.
Raid Shadow Legends will sponsor the next one.
Yeah.
Cook them on some 3D printed like hotbeds. Have some like
Give everybody a
grilled
free
cheese.
silicone glue brush from Rockler.
Yep. I still have mine from years ago.
Everybody gets those.
Oh, it's been great. I can't wait to do this again. I mean, we're not even done with this one yet,
That's true.
but I'm still looking forward to the next time we get to do this.
Yeah, it's airport day. We're all leaving today.
Yeah.
Yep. Within about an hour of each other or so.
I would say I covered most of the bases that I wanted to cover, which were not a lot. I wanted to introduce people to different cuisines that were local, like different types of barbecue and like southern food and other good eating establishments, but also not to jam pack it with all kinds of things to do. I wanted to have like a downtime decompression kind of thing, which I think
I
worked
mean,
out for me. Yeah.
being dads and having kids and everything like that, like having a vacation where there's no demands to do anything.
Yep. You don't have to plan anything.
Nope.
You would ask what we wanted to go do, and everybody's like, it doesn't matter.
We sat around playing Rayman for 2 hours, and it was okay.
Such a good game.
Fantastic.
Such a good game.
And it's my first time to the South. And
It was unplanned.
living basically in the desert. I just stare out in the backyard and look at the trees. I'm like, this is real?
At any given time, I couldn't find Sean. He was outside.
I took
Looking at the trees.
I took so many pictures back there just of the forest.
What is that? It was like at nighttime. He's like, what is that sound?
Yeah.
Cicadas, man. What?
I'm like, what? You don't hear cars?
Cicadas and frogs.
This is where they filmed Harry and the Hendersons. It's an indoor.
It was definitely a packed house. We also had a guestmate that was of the canine variety. So I'm dog sitting. Our family is dog sitting a big golden retriever for an indefinite amount of time, probably till the late fall. So then having 20 people plus a dog that's not used to the area, to the people that live here, let alone the people that would like invade my house, and then having Loki and then a couple kids running around. It was a good time though. I think everybody had fun. Lots of stuff to eat.
Lots of stuff to eat.
Plenty.
I've had more meat in the past couple days than I have in the past couple of years, probably. Gosh.
My plane's going to need extra fuel now.
I had never put that many pieces of chicken in that smoker. I don't think I could have fit another piece in there.
Mm-hmm. Or corn in your grill.
Yeah. It was like constantly preventing like a little forest fire inside the grill.
Don't
It's
make
like
that. Spraying
spray
it down.
bottle spritzing it.
I took over because I'm just like, yeah, we need to spray those down.
Yep.
No, but it was good. It was. I mean, we're all friends, so it's us coming over to your house. It's not us being hosted at a Swain themed B&B.
Yeah.
I
Fair.
mean, it was a level of familiarity that was comforting.
Good.
Like, our families have hung out enough. I know your kids. You know my kids. Now you guys all know Wes's kids. So it's...
Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't that we met up at the woodworking show and then hung out in the hotel at some colder, like, location.
Yeah.
It was a sleepover.
Yeah.
By Saturday, it kind of felt natural, which is really interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that awkward transition of not having your kids or your wife around you constantly, and it just feeling weird.
It does initially.
Yeah.
That and combined with the post-COVID kind of world too, like getting used to being around people.
Having this be like the first. Well, no, I mean, because I was at a family reunion right before this, so it wasn't the first plane ride that I've been on since COVID, but it was pretty close.
There was one guy that attended, Tom. He's a local machinist. He said this was his first thing he did. That is like a social gathering since it all went down. So that's kind of crazy.
Cool.
But really cool. Yeah, honored to have that be the thing that he came out to.
It's all Wes. WestCon. We
WestCon.
need to make it a thing.
And in addition to all that, there was a little bit of making going on.
There was.
A little bit of prep, a little bit of a lot of 3D modeling in a way.
Yeah.
More 3D modeling than I was
Yeah.
signing up for.
Yeah.
It was unofficial and unplanned for Josh to teach a fusion class while he was here, but it did happen.
And now I think I've burdened you with the task of remodeling your kitchen now. Your wife was asking me about kitchen stuff, which is funny because during the meetup, like a bunch of you guys came down here and everybody like tagged everybody on social media. I was like, when did that happen? I was like, oh, as I was upstairs in your kitchen with your wife talking about how to remodel and redesign your kitchen, and then I busted out Fusion and we just started modeling your kitchen.
It goes in your contractor portfolio.
Yeah, and she was like, well, now you have to send that to Wes so that he can do all this other work. And I was like, sure. Yeah, I mean,
You're never invited again.
Yeah, you have now. So I've inadvertently given you a task.
Next time is the bathroom.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah, he can measure it out beforehand. Or you can do it yourself.
Yay.
Yeah.
She talked about wanting to take the Fusion course.
I heard.
Yeah.
So I'll send her a coupon code. She can do it all herself. But the project that we did, we modeled something for you. Is that going to be on your channel?
It is. It is. Halloween is coming up-ish. I try to get a jump on holiday projects a little bit ahead of time. And so with Halloween being the next big holiday around the corner, I thought I'd get a jump on it. And I really like the aesthetic and style of the Haunted Mansion from Disney and the little tombstones that they have outside that have like little quippy, punny phrases on them. And the past couple of years at our house at Halloween, my kids and I have done little cardboard ones, and we just draw or paint little, the little quippy anecdotes. And we had this fence that was left over from when we bought the house, and we set up the fence pieces, and then we put the little cardboard gravestone in the fence pieces, and make our own little cute little graveyard. And it's always been my intention to like do it more officially, or have like wood ones or concrete ones or something that would make it look even cooler. And Josh busted out Fusion, and we did an unofficial Fusion course, modeling these tombstones from Haunted Mansion, and we 3D printed one of them. Turned out a lot better than expected, considering all the fraying and noodling that was going on while it was being printed, but it turned out great. And so I'm gonna have, it's not gonna be till closer to Halloween, but I'm gonna have a video where we put together some tombstones.
Are you going to print the rest of them at your house?
Yeah.
Dope.
Yep.
I want to see that.
I think we
It'd be
talked
cool.
about briefly of maybe doing something collectively. Not on a single project, but each doing a different version of something for Halloween too.
Yeah, following the same theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great because
We'll have to iron out some of those details.
initially Josh was teaching me Fusion to put something together to run on the CNC. Because I got a 150 CNC, he got a 150 CNC, and so we were talking about machining and how right now I'm doing everything in like 2 dimensions, and how Fusion can allow you to take stuff and put it in 3 dimension and cut it on the CNC. So initially we talked about that, and then while he was going over how to do this, that, and the other in Fusion, he's like, well, now that you have this model, you can transpose it to other mediums. You can 3D print it. You can 3D print it and then make a cast and then pour concrete like Wes's Thwomp, He's like, there's so much you can do with this. And I'm like, all right, so we'll do 3 different versions. We'll do a CNC version that'll be bigger and made out of wood. There'll be little desk-sized versions, 3D printed that people can put on their desk if they want to. And then we'll make some concrete ones for the front, for the front lawn. And it's just amazing the versatility of being able to take something like that and turn it into something real and then make it in different mediums and something real.
Yeah, it started with foam.
Yeah, foam.
That you could
Purple
just like
foam.
cover in like Plastidip and then spray paint, and then that became a 3D printed, and then it became concrete. And it, as I think a lot of us do when you get in a group of other people, you take a good idea and everybody adds their 2 cents, and the scope creeps really, really crazily into something fun.
Yeah. I mean, that was another huge advantage of being here. Just the fact that, like, just being around other people and having the opportunity to talk to other people without, the pressure of, like, being on the podcast or, taking classes together or whatever, really breeds creativity in a way that is kind of indispensable. I'm so jacked up now to go back and, like, make cool stuff. Because, being here and being around you guys, Workbench Con is like that, like Maker Faire is kind of like that. Not as much.
In a different way.
Yeah, in a different way.
In a very different way.
But just being able to have an opportunity to kind of, recharge, if you want to call it that. That you can't get...
Creativity-based recharging.
Yeah.
So Inventables does this thing called Ord Camp that's like an invitation. Bob was invited, and he went a couple times, but, I mean, they invite whoever they invite, and it's like a problem-solving, like, couple-day-long class thing where they have, like, a list of presenters, and you can pick whatever you want to talk about, and then people can sign up for those classes. And they talk about the craziest stuff. When Jimmy went and then when Bob went, like, the things that they learned about. Like, he came back and taught me all about some guy in out west in, like, Colorado that was hiding treasure. And then somebody there was giving a class on taxidermy. Just, like, the weirdest thing. So whatever that you have an interest in, you can offer it as a class for other people to take. And they have, like, an ice-breaking and a closing thing. But, like, WestCon could be, like, a little mini Ord Camp. You could set up, like, little specialized little blocks of instruction on a micro level, which will eventually grow to, we're going to need an airplane hangar in like a few
event
years.
Planner, yeah.
But, like, having that at Workbench Con as a class would be a cool idea. And we'll call it WestCon.
If you don't get the joke, Wes is the octopus with all of his tentacles to connect everybody to everything.
The maker glue.
The maker glue. The glue that holds us all together.
You see that video of, like, an old man sitting in an auditorium, and he thinks he's there for a thing, and then they're like, all the children who were saved by this one guy, please stand up. And, like, an auditorium full of people all stand up.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
If you could do that with all of the makers from the Facebook group to YouTube stuff to local stuff to... if you were here because of West Wayne, please stand up. That's WestCon.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty flattering.
And he's just
That's
walking
cool.
around
Even better because it's
making
true.
pancakes.
Yeah.
I was going to
Do you
mention
have
pancakes after.
Do you have enough pancakes?
Those were pretty amazing pancakes.
They were.
Now I know why there's all those stories about them.
Yep.
Nobody slept on the kitchen floor, but still, there's the pancake story.
I don't know if it's a win of an event then if no one sleeps in the kitchen.
I think this is the most comfortable that I've slept in all the times that we've collectively been together. Maybe
Right.
Maker Faire. I think I might have had my own bed at Maker Faire. But, like, you and I have shared a bed. I remember
Yep.
Andy Berkey was jumping on it and Bobby Duke was sleeping on the floor. I
Yep.
shared a bed with, like, 4 other people when we were in Boston at Making It 100. You got me to sleep in a camper for the first time in quite a long time.
That's true. It's such a meta joke.
I had to get over the PTSD nervous flop sweat to be able to do it, but it was quite comfortable.
Yeah, it was nice. Nobody slept in the Mario room. I didn't.
No, you didn't sleep in the Mario
I didn't
room.
sleep in the Mario room.
Well, what's
I was
funny
going to do
is-
that last night. I was like, I got to spend at least one night in the Mario room. It wouldn't be coming to Wes's house if I didn't spend one night in the Mario room.
Which your kids could have went in their own bedrooms.
They could have slept in the
But they
original.
still shared the room the entire time.
Yeah.
I could tell
That's
they're probably ready to
adorable.
be separated.
Probably. When you break out the Nerf guns at the end of like an event like that, you know that they're gonna be shooting shit.
I got little kids. We got Nerf guns. I know how it goes down.
Samantha's like frantically reloading like her blaster, and Grant comes up like point blank range and like assassinates her in the back of the head with like a little pistol.
We could have filmed that as a mini movie today.
No, it was great though. There was so much screaming.
Donovan was trying to be tactical, actually, turn the corners and looking.
Well, because I learned early on, because I busted out the Nerf guns and just started shooting in their general direction. And then Grant comes up and it shoots me point blank in the eye. And I'm like, oh, you don't hold anything back. Because my kids are still kind of little. They hold back. They don't want to hurt you. They want to have fun. No, Grant's just like just point blank. I'm like, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And, there was a lot of... There's still probably bullets everywhere in your house. Maybe.
Or the golden retriever is like going to be pooping them out in the next 2 days.
Oh, gosh.
It's possible.
No, it was fun, though. Like, everything about this was just a blast.
Turned into a geocache.
Yeah.
A poop geocache?
Nerf.
Oh, man. We also played 4-player NES game.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Which I can't remember the name of it. It was really fun.
Micromages.
Micromages.
Yeah, you had talked about that on the podcast a while ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There was a unofficial intention to try and beat it.
Yes.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, we beat it on...
We have a little bit of time.
Easier level we beat
Yeah, we beat it on easy.
Not the hard.
Because once you beat it, you got to go back and beat it again in hard mode.
Right.
I think our eyes have a time limit on one of those older games. At least mine do.
Oh, man, I had such a headache after we were playing Rayman.
Yeah.
All 4 of us started playing and trying to, shoot back and forth and trying
Figure
to
out
figure out
who's who.
where.
My eyes don't track as well as they used to.
You're blue, but I'm green, but the shades are so close to
Yeah.
each other that... I was like, why am I jumping? I'm not hitting the button. Oh, that's Josh. Dang it.
I would just randomly jump to identify myself,
Yeah.
and then I would die. I would jump, I'm like, is that me? And then I'd jump on somebody, and then I'd fall in a pit of lava or into a bad guy or into something else. Just push forward.
But it also sort of happened on Micromages, too, because they have, player collision there as well, and there's always... I think there's one level where we all spawn... Yeah, we all spawn together on this little platform, and I was in line, and everybody shoved everybody else, and then it finally hit me, and I go launching off into
into the lava.
It's like lemmings.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, that was cool. There's so much stuff now that I'm sold on that I wasn't sold on before.
The area or things to do?
Well, the area for one. For anybody that hasn't been to this area, it is beautifully quaint and old and well taken care of and pretty and all the good things.
It's a good mix of technological advancement and holding on to kind of where it started.
There's a lot of growth happening here, too.
Yeah.
And things being built, which is a good sign for an area.
Which is Cary, North Carolina, and Raleigh, for those of them not aware of where I am. So
Because it's going to be the new Maker epicenter within the next 5
I mean,
years.
I think it could be, definitely.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying that in a sarcastic
I mean,
tone.
yeah, Apple just announced that they're going to be building another headquarters here, and prices for houses skyrocketed the next day. They were already kind of crazy, but they went crazier too.
Yeah.
We passed by the mall that Epic Games owns now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when are you guys moving down here?
I'm going to go home and try to convince my wife.
It's funny because it's my wife and I, we've, not recently, it's been an ongoing conversation for a while, but we've talked about moving to places, but I made a rule that we're not going to move anywhere unless we visit there first.
That's a pretty solid rule.
Yeah,
When you said
yeah.
that, I'm like, that should be...
That's
That's
basic
the
logic.
standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's so many stories of people going into places blind and having to adjust and all. It's oh, no, I don't want to do that.
I don't support the dartboard on the map theory.
Yeah, my parents did that, and that's how we ended up in Montana. Not that I'm complaining about Montana. Montana's great, but I mean, people have done that. I don't want to do it. So we got to visit there first. We got to mark our little seal of approval stamp on the map, saying, okay, if we're gonna move somewhere, we'll move here. And I've put my seal on the map for this place.
Nice.
It is great.
There's only X's on my map of where I'm not
Really?
going. Yeah.
At least you know where you don't want to live.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Florida.
And if you guys ever want to come back with your kids or whatever and use this like a base station to launch off to go do other things visit Washington D.C. or go hiking in the mountains. Would not say you don't have mountains where you are, but it's just different
Because you are
forest
like 4
experience
hours
and-
from anything, right? You're 4 hours from the
Yeah.
mountains. You're 4 hours from the ocean. You're 4 hours from
Yeah.
DC. You're 4 hours from.
What is it, Atlanta? Is Atlanta about 4 hours?
It's just over. It's a 6-hour drive to
Oh.
Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all within reach. It's all doable for like a longer weekend. And we could do like the Wright Brothers Memorial stuff. There, go
We
like
stayed out there. We rented
hang
a
gliding and-
beach house with some friends out on the coast. It was very nice.
yeah.
You can have a fire on the beach. Like if the winds are below a certain speed, you
Yeah.
can have a fire on the beach.
And drive out to the beach as well. Yeah, drive on it.
We had all of the kids kites because the wind was so crazy that we tied, like, we would let the string out, and then when the string was done on the handle, we would hook it to another kite, and we had 750 feet we measured worth of kite off the back deck of that house. It was so windy.
Wow.
It was awesome. And then it blew away, and God knows where it is now. Orca has eaten it. Or
Trash Island.
It's stuck in a sea turtle somewhere.
You'll be watching one of those, like, commercials, Save the Oceans. You're like, oh, man. That's where
Some monster let a space shuttle kite loose in the ocean.
No, this place is great.
Good. Glad
It's
you
good.
guys. Glad you guys had fun.
I'm already thinking about next time out. I want to try to do this. I want to go see this. So.
Well, it's good that we still left a couple things like loose hanging threads to do them. Like next time, like half of us still never had Krispy Kreme, like brand new out of the oven or out of the vat of boiling oil, I should
You
say.
guys can have Krispy Kreme. That's fine.
I may be overselling it. I think he's been like
But
corrupted.
you're not the only
by
person who has
Duncan.
attempted to oversell the magical allure of a hot Krispy Kreme donut. I've never had one. And then you gasped at me like I had leprosy. But I had just never had one. And I think I'm all right with it. It's like a prosciutto taco kind of thing. Like, I've lived 37 years without having a hot Krispy Kreme donut. We had a hot duck donut the other
Yeah.
day.
We did.
That was fantastic. That's enough.
That is one thing I like about traveling is, like, finding out all the local cuisines.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to chain places. No.
Yeah.
I want to find out where the best street tacos are.
I was
around
more interested
here.
in all the different things that I haven't seen before in terms of like the restaurants and stuff.
Yeah.
Where's the Pit or can't remember the names of the other ones.
Oh, we went to the arcade, the barcade.
Yeah, the
next door.
barcade.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
That was great. I still have a ton of coins to leave you
Play it next
for your
time.
next date night or whatever.
Pretty epic bubble hockey matches. Since I think I'm going to
Oh,
accept
man.
that name finally.
Oh,
Bubble
yeah.
hockey?
Yeah.
Bubble hockey or dome hockey. It's like foosball, but with hockey players and a gigantic plexi dome over top. So if you're in an arcade and you see it and you pass by it, you're missing out.
I'm convinced it goes by different names. If anybody knows what I'm talking about just by saying that, let us know because I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah, because I was trying to Google it because I wanted to buy one.
Yeah.
And that name kept coming up. So I don't know if it's just some colloquial thing that kind of stuck in it. SEO and searchability makes it a new name.
Yeah.
And-
I mean, it makes sense. But I
Yeah.
swear it goes by a different name. I'm going to have to look it up and find it. It's going to bug me.
And it seemed like it was like the best value for your money. Anything that was playable there, like we
Mm-hmm.
put money
Four
on it and
people at a
sat there
time.
for a while
The
playing one game.
pinballs are pretty. Pinball machines were pretty cool though.
They were fun.
I did enjoy those.
Well, I'm biased.
Yeah.
I definitely put some coins in that.
Those are Stern pinball machines. That was like a $6,000 pinball machine.
They are so expensive.
They have tiers, so there's like they call it something different, but there's like a bronze, silver, gold edition in whatever property they
They
have.
changed it recently.
Yeah, so I was playing the Ninja Turtles one, and it was not the same Ninja Turtles machine that I played at the arcade back near where we live. And I don't know which level is.
I think Grant is in the other. My son Grant is in the other room, probably dying by like some Legend of Zelda enemy because he's been playing that nonstop, and I think he just died. So carry on, Josh.
Well, we'll accept that as an explanation.
Just make sure you didn't die in real life. Like, there's like a house full of dads, and you hear a sound, and everybody just kind of like
Is that my kid?
perks up real quick.
Is that really after a day or two? It was kind of like, okay, these are my kids for the weekend. That's the way I kind of felt.
My rental children. And everybody's like, oh, no, they're not hurt. That's a mad cry. I'm like, they're fine.
Yeah.
No, pinball thing that I think that's fairly recent. They do like a pro level now, but that's different upgrades that they've been doing.
Yeah, the company Stern, if you see a pinball machine somewhere that has like a TV screen or a little LCD screen that's underneath like the big artwork, it's usually made by Stern.
So we have Brian Prusa in the comments saying that Krispy Kreme Hot Now is irresistible. He's resisting.
Objection. I can resist it quite easily.
So can I, especially when you see the machine that puts on the glaze. Sorry,
Okay,
Wes.
so we had a little mini conversation about why Latin is relevant. So the prefix era, what's the opposite of era? If something is not resistible, is it pro-resistible? Pro-resistible? I don't know.
Not
Yeah. If irresistible is you are not able to resist it.
unresistible.
That's the same thing. What is I am able to resist it?
Resistible.
Yeah, okay. We were talking about that for some reason. Then we were watching Stranger Things, and it was like, oh, it's the Demogorgon. And I'm like, demi means half. So does that mean that there is a whole Gorgon somewhere that's like twice as large as the Demogorgon?
It's like God and demigod. Which
Yeah, it's a lesser.
It's half, but lesser.
Yeah, so
yes.
is there a just Gorgon?
Watch
Well,
season 2.
And also, we could say what there may or may not be, but spoiler alert, Donovan hasn't seen the last 2 seasons now, so...
Yep.
But I have seen the first.
You have seen the first,
And that was something I couldn't say before coming here.
And that was a fantastic test
you
on my
know
new
what?
speaker system, too.
Yes,
yeah.
That was fantastic.
I don't think it would have been the same experience without surround sound that'll...
And no lights on with the last episode flashing constantly.
Oh my god, I was going to have a seizure.
I kept closing my eyes. I've never watched it in the dark before, like real
Me neither.
dark.
Yeah.
Oh, it was tough.
I want to watch it with my wife now because I told her, I'm like, it is so good. It is so good. Like, the storytelling is good. The cinematography, character development, the acting is good.
What kind of I don't think you've ever had that reaction to anything we've ever reviewed on the podcast.
No, because we are looking at you for your reaction. Okay, what are you going to nitpick now?
No, that was half the fun, is watching your reaction to key moments. Because, like...
After the first episode, too, is when you had the really...
Yeah.
When Hopper put the Eggos in the little box, you like, you went like that next to me. I was like, oh, that's adorable.
It's funny because you know all the iconography without knowing the relevance.
Yeah.
And so having that come
Because
together
earlier in the day we were playing Pictionary.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And the clue for me was Stranger Things. And I know the iconography of the little letters on the wall with the little Christmas lights. And so I drew that. Somebody guessed it. And you're like, but you still haven't seen that. No, I still haven't seen it. All right, let's go downstairs and watch it. And
boom.
Speaking of Pictionary, we won twice. And we came back from a huge deficit the second time.
Yeah, we were the underdogs.
It may not have been a fair comparison.
Your daughter probably still is going to forever hate us for that. But
she was mad.
She was so mad.
We also played Codenames, and Sean and I destroyed.
Oh yeah, that was fun. So much fun.
There's a lot of cookies being made.
Oh yeah, the cookie
we had a
off.
cookie off.
I did not know that the broiler to your oven is on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So I burnt an entire pan of cookies because it was near the bottom of your oven.
There's a lot of people who still liked them burnt.
Good for them. I did not.
Unfortunately, for me, since I'm the one saying this, Wes won the popular vote, but since his daughter was the primary judge, she picked mine. So I'll take that as a
Judge's choice.
Judge's choice. Yeah.
I think the whole thing was flawed. You made a chocolate chip cookie. You made an oatmeal raisin cookie. There's no equal comparison.
Had you made your cookie, I think it would have been a fair trade-off between the three, rather than having 2 variations of chocolate chip cookie and
it's like
butterscotch walnut. I think would have been a good variety.
Yeah, I was gonna make those.
Each
and
one against
your wife and I
each
were gonna go to the store, and then I forgot.
Yeah.
We're going to pause for intermission here for a second.
It's such a dad moment right now.
Donovan likes something? Yes, Donovan
I know,
liked
it's great. No, it's so good. I don't want to be nitpicky. And one of the things, like when we were watching it, because my brain is broken, and so whenever I'm watching something, I'm always trying to figure something out. And so in the middle of the season, I'm like, well, if I was a betting man, and they were just like, don't think about it. Just don't think about it. Just enjoy it. And I did. And it was fantastic.
But I think that's kind of like an honest reaction, though, because if you work at a professional level on any one thing, and you view something else within that arena, you're going to have some really strong opinions about it.
And it's like, I hate feeling like I'm the critic from... Is it Lady in the Water, that M. Night Shyamalan one?
Yeah.
Where the movie...
Did he win on that one?
Huh? No. The movie critic. The character in the movie.
Yeah.
The one that's like, oh, this movie is so derivative and you know, all this kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And he gets it in the end because he was the surprise death.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I didn't see that coming. That kind of thing. I hate feeling like I'm that guy, even though a lot of the times I tend to act like that guy. especially when it comes to like Marvel or Star Wars, because we tend to talk about those things a lot. Although that said, we haven't talked about it yet. We haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah,
we don't need to delve into it. But Loki was awesome. I loved Loki.
There's actually two things to talk about. Loki first.
I think it's my favorite project of Marvel.
I loved it too.
Yeah.
Period, or just as the TV variety?
Probably not period.
Okay.
Like Ragnarok and Winter Soldier is still way up there.
It was the show that I was most looking forward to of any of the Disney Plus stuff that they were going to announce up until now. I was most looking forward to it.
The way they shot it, all of the different elements, the character development, all of it was really good. It was really good.
Like the period, like everything was designed under, like the theming and everything.
Yeah, the theming.
It was nice that it felt like it was a little bit of a break from a lot of the standard tropes. I'm sure that they're there if you look closely enough, but it felt the freshest out of the properties so far.
Mm-hmm. But especially after coming from like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, too,
and
which was like the cookie cutter Marvel thing.
And WandaVision was great because it started out being different and unique and awesome, but then it turned into and it ended up being, cookie cutter Marvel, but Loki was just Loki all the way through, which was great. Yeah. We're gonna have to talk about that later.
We watched Black Widow too.
We did.
How many of you had seen Black Widow? Did you see it?
No, I hadn't seen it before.
I'd seen it before.
Yeah.
I did not.
It was a plan for we bought it in preparation for flying on the plane because my wife and I were going to sit by each other and watch it together because we like watching movies together. It's cuddle fodder. And so we got it, and we ended up having to sit in different locations, which kind of sucks. So she watched it, and I hadn't watched it yet. And so by the time I got here, I'm like, I'll just watch it here.
So with you nitpicking Stranger Things, or feeling like you were nitpicking Stranger Things, I think anybody who likes...
No, I wasn't nitpicking Stranger Things. I was just trying to figure it out.
Right, and I think anybody who is reading a book or likes a movie, I think you're trying to do that in some way. Like, you're trying to be invested in it, and you're like, oh, I bet it was... Colonel Mustard in the library with the candlestick, and it turned out that you're wrong, and that's the fun part.
Me playing Clue every time I watch a movie, even though that's not the intent.
Well, just that you're able to nitpick on a different level too, because of a different understanding of how the sauce is made.
And
there's a blue light. You know what that means? At least I thought I knew what it meant.
No, because it wasn't consistent.
Yeah, it wasn't consistent, but it was consistent enough for me to recognize it and think that it was a self-fulfilling trope. But they subverted my expectations. Good on them. It was good.
But Black Widow was easy to figure out. Like, it seemed like out of all of the nitpickiness, you didn't have to because it was really easy.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, who's Taskmaster? You're like, well, Taskmaster's going to be that person.
There's a lot of obvious foreshadowing in that film.
Yeah, it seemed like out of all of the Marvel movies, when you're like, okay, I think it's going to be them because of all these reasons, and they're like, haha, no, it's not, we got you. It's like they forgot to do that part in Black Widow.
I don't think they forgot.
Or they just didn't care. Yeah. They wanted Scarlett Johansson to walk away and set up her replacement with...
Which she stole the show.
Oh, absolutely. She was the main character in that movie.
Talk about pockets forever.
I like pockets.
It was a good movie, but I mean, it was pretty linear. But like to know its place in the MCU just as a bookend, a potential bookend. Who knows? There's multi-universes and stuff now. But
had it come before Endgame, I think it would have been more enjoyable to watch.
I disagree.
I think it had to come after. I think it had to come after Endgame.
I think that people probably would not have cared.
Where does it fall? Where does it fall in the timeline? After Endgame,
after Civil War.
Right. No, after Civil War.
Right before Endgame or Infinity War.
Infinity War.
Right
okay, so right before Infinity War.
I kind of like that it came after, in a sense, in a small way. I don't know if it's an empathy thing or a nostalgia thing, or something about looking back at what she had to endure.
Yeah. One of the things that I didn't like is the whole solo effect, or pulling a solo, where it's like you explain the origin to things that people had no questions about where these things came from. But Black Widow kind of did that. It's like, oh, that's how she got her vest that she wears in the thing. Even though nobody...
The dice?
The dice.
It was still
that was her blaster.
That solo.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that movie.
But it was kind of fun. It was fun to watch it with you guys.
Yeah.
So what is next? It's like the What If series is next, right?
What comes in August?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then for films, is it The Eternals or Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi. And then No Way Home.
Then Eternals
still
and then
not
No
a
Way
trailer
Home.
for No Way Home. There's still nothing for No Way Home.
Correct.
I keep seeing stupid YouTube channels talking about leaks and plot holes, but still no trailer.
There are movie theaters that are taking fan-made posters and putting them up in the movie theaters as coming soon.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because some of them look really, really good. They look almost legit now.
Huh.
So I don't know if I'm the only person who is starting to fear the MCU as I started to fear Star Wars.
The fear's there.
That I remember back in the 90s when I was liking Spider-Man, and it's like, oh, there's a clone, but then there's another clone, and there's a whole bunch of clones, and there's a whole universe of these people, and the comic book bubble kind of popped. Like, I wonder how they're going to combat that, because with the introduction of the multiverse, not only I fear is it going to get confusing for people who don't want to pay as much attention, who just want to be entertained by a comic book movie, but then the introducing something new or something fresh or having permanence. Like if Black Widow died, she died for a reason. Her death made sense. It had weight. All of those things. And they're like, oh, haha, she's now a different one, but she doesn't remember, like the Gamora thing. So I'm afraid that they're going to have the Gamora effect for so many things just to undo stuff, which I think would be a detriment to the impactfulness of a story.
I mean, you got that, plus you got the scrolls that can shapeshift into any... They could have been any character at any point.
At any
Still,
time.
Secret Wars.
Yeah,
Yep.
some characters that
Which
you thought
is-
were the
is
real
a-
ones.
Which is what was it? That's a property that has been confirmed.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
starting. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's going to start shooting in August.
Yeah. But I mean, they could have... There's nothing to say that some of those... I'm sure they've already been scrolls the whole time. Some of our heroes that we already know. I'm sure they've been scrolls. So it's kind of like subvert... It's like another layer of being able to pull the rug out from under a story, or just being able to weasel their way out of something. They had the face changing technology that they used. It's not unheard of in other movies, but they have that in the MCU too.
There's also been such a huge gap between when that was first really shown and spoken about in Captain Marvel, that we've been waiting for. Well, what is the result of that?
Right, since they've been here since the 90s.
Well, that was at the end of
Captain Marvel.
Right.
No, it was
Spider-Man.
it was the end of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And the
Spider-Man, I meant. I got that wrong.
But there has to be other ones before that. They're going to tell since they've been here since the 90s. There's no reason not to have it set at that point and not have even further infiltration.
Yeah.
Too.
I don't know. I know that the MCU is very good
Mm-hmm.
with a pretty consistent through line, consistent writing, throwing back to things when it's important, trying to tell a new part of the story. And that's what made me excited about Disney Plus, is they were able to tell a completely new story in a completely new format. And I thought WandaVision was super cool that they could tell it in a new format that was confusing. And then watching Falcon and Winter Soldier, I was disappointed that they fell back, but it seemed like they fell back to a storyline that no one was really all that excited about to begin with. And it dragged on.
And they made it edgier to make it edgier for the sake of making it
I didn't think
edgier.
it made it edgy. I think it was confusing. I think the whole story and the plot and the character development, all of that was just convoluted.
Well, they had to rewrite it halfway through. That didn't help.
Ugh. But then with Loki, that was awesome, and it was the superhero in a space world that make me believe what you're doing. The acting was great, the story was great, the settings constantly changed. So as long as you're making me believe it and you're consistent, then great. Continue to tell the story in a new crazy way with that consistent kind of through line or the themes. Fantastic.
I want to say that with a lot of the streaming services, movies are potentially dead. At least the need to shove something into this 2-hour format, I think needs to maybe be rethought. Because when you have the opportunity to tell a better story and not worrying about, having theater time to be fit in is a better way to go.
So I think Falcon and Winter Soldier should have been a movie. It would have been it would have been an okay movie. But a bad series. They just kept rehashing the same thing every single episode. The Shield meant stuff. The Shield meant stuff. Hey, these are bad guys, but why are they bad guys? We're not really sure. This is a good guy. Why is he a good guy? I'm not really sure.
I wonder if somebody could cut it into a 2-hour movie and see if it makes it that much better. I'd be curious.
I don't know. But is there a movie since COVID and since the release of on-demand theatrical releases, is there one that you've had the opportunity to see it in a theater and you've chosen not to, like Black Widow?
That was the first time I think that I've...
Did you make the conscious effort?
Yes.
What, out of convenience or out of what?
To see it in the theater?
Oh, I didn't know which one you saw it.
No, I saw Black Widow in the theater.
Okay.
That was actually the second movie I saw in the theater, but it was a conscious decision because big Marvel movie, I want to see it in a proper format.
I agree.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Well, I consciously saw Tenet in the theater.
That was a wise choice.
Yeah, well, because it's like I'm a sucker for theaters and movies.
Did you see it in IMAX?
Huh.
And Christopher
IMAX
Nolan
was-
cries when people don't watch his movie in IMAX.
No, there's some things that it's like I want this theater experience. Like there's an appeal to seeing something on the big screen with speakers that can make you think that there's an earthquake if you're standing upstairs if somebody's watching the intro to Marvel downstairs. Like I enjoy that. I really like that. One of the things that I kind of worry about, showing my wife Stranger Things is we don't have all that. I was like, is she gonna have the same awesome experience that I did? It's like, I'm gonna have to set something up. I want to make it as cool and immersive experience.
Both
It's
of you
easier
wear
to have
headphones
it.
and just sit next to each other and
Yeah.
nod.
Yeah, just nod.
It might have to be a headphone experience to really kind of, without a surround sound system.
Yeah, but no, like Tenet, I intentionally saw in the theater. Boss Baby is the only other movie that I've seen in the theater since COVID, and that was just because it's like, I don't know. I wanted my kids to have the
That's
theater
why we saw-
experience too,
we
because
saw
we're
Peter
so
Rabbit, too, for the same
we're
reason.
so used to watching movies and consuming content in the house, and in the house, everything is going on. Like the microwave could like ding, the dishwasher's on, like you can get so easily distracted.
I'm not shunned for being on my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like the theater is an entirely different experience, and it's like, okay, if we're gonna go to this movie, and if we want to watch this movie, we're going to watch it without having to worry about anything else. Like if somebody comes and knocks on the door because they want to play or what? No, none of that. We're gonna watch the movie. It's gonna be great. Didn't turn out that way because my kids started crawling over the seats because they got antsy, but it was still those were like intentional going to the theaters. Other than that, like online streaming is kind of good for somebody with kids.
Wes, have you went to the theater yet?
I have.
You're out of the frame, by the way.
Yeah, I have gone to the theaters, and all the reasons you guys bring up to go see a movie in the theater were the justification that I had to go see this movie in the theater, and it ended up being sort of disappointing because of the situation that it was in. So I went to see Quiet Place 2,
Yep.
which is amazing. Went in the theater, and as the title kind of lets you know, most of the movie is quiet. It's a quiet place. Well, the theater owners put it beside the latest Fast and the Furious movie, and they have not invested in proper soundproofing. Usually it's not an issue when you have like one bombastic movie beside another. Mm-hmm. The muddleness kind of like, there's so much going on, you don't really notice. You noticed all kinds of screeching and honks and gunshots and stuff when it was supposed to be like completely silent, building that suspense.
How many times do you hear, we're family?
It was kind of infuriating, but I was like, man, I wish I would watch this in my home theater with speakers and stuff. But that might be the only exception to that rule, is that just the certain circumstance that was presented was a little bit disappointing though.
Yeah, I think if you have that setup that you can kind of replicate a theatrical experience, then there would really be no reason to. You could have probably a better experience. Like you have the popcorn, plasticky looking popcorn bowls. So we all made some popcorn in those bowls and sat down and had a soda and watched it in this, not even surround sound, like hugging sound. It was like speakers right next to you.
It's very intimate.
Yeah. But yeah, we went and saw Quiet Place 2 as well. Because I wanted to see it in the theater. I saw it in the theater the first time, and just the huge room that you're in, with it being silent, like creates this feeling of uneasiness. Especially when like the movie goes from like crazy amount of chaos to just silence with a certain character's perspective. And that being in that large space where you expect to hear the bass and all the rumblings and the Dolby, and it didn't. And that was part of the experience, I think. So rather than... I didn't think you could stream that movie. But if it were available, that would be one I didn't want to stream. We streamed Boss Baby for the kids because I didn't care. And I thought the first one was stupid, and the second one was probably going to be stupider. So I don't want to invest in the experience. I can go take a nap upstairs rather than nap in the fancy couches in the movie theater that cost me $12. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think I loved going to the movies. And even during COVID, I tried to go watch... What did I go watch? The movie that Bob Odenkirk was in, where he's like an action star.
Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, I went and watched that. I threw my mask on and was just tired of never going to the movies anymore. And I went and sat in this theater by myself. Just because I like that experience as a whole. And being at the house, like you're saying, there's all the distractions.
Mm-hmm.
I can sit on my couch with my pillow and pull my phone out whenever and then miss
You got to pee?
a huge
Pause
chunk.
it. Have a pee break. Talk about who we think the bad guy is. Then start playing it again.
Yeah,
There's advantages to it.
my focus is not there. But if I'm in the giant dark room that socially doesn't want me to use my phone and like, okay, whatever, I won't. Like, it's forced focus in an immersive experience. Totally helps with the overall impact of the movie.
What's the next movie you're going to see in the theater?
I have no idea.
No idea.
It's hard. I don't know, other than like Marvel movies, because that's kind of the space that I enjoy being in. I don't know what other movies are coming out. Like Top Gun's coming out. Top Gun's in theaters?
Can't wait. December.
Top Gun's in theaters, hands down.
Free Guy? The Ryan Reynolds. Is it called Free Guy?
Yeah, it is.
New guy, extra guy?
Nice guy?
Free guy.
Nice.
Free guy.
Free guy.
Yeah,
It was delayed a couple years.
Yeah,
but
I don't
it
know
looks
if I'm going to see
fun.
that or not. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to see Top Gun. I've wanted to see it for a while
Yeah.
now. But it's kind of crazy because there's the movies that were made, that were finished production before COVID, and then didn't put the movie out because of lack of kind of social interest. And then the entire COVID season where productions were slowed down or they were different or there weren't as many. And like, just like the toilet paper supply chain, there's going to be like a huge lull now. And then a massive uptick in movies like next year or next summer. And so I think that the blockbusters, as they're coming out, they're going to have a lot of competition. And it's going to be kind of crazy next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's another Batman movie coming out. Robert Pattinson.
If it everything thing ever finishes filming.
Yeah.
And we talked about some more permanent changes to your home theater in the works, which is kind of fun to talk about.
Yeah. Yep.
That'll be really cool. Can't wait to see until that gets figured out.
Your daughter broke the couch. That was fun too.
She did like a suplex triple axle and smashed something.
It's fine, Dad. It's fine.
So it's kind of hard to do the next part of the show
Yeah.
because the last 5 days have been
Geeking out.
completely geeking out. Is there anything in addition
Yeah.
that you guys are looking forward to, or even maybe before we started the trip that you were kind of looking at and getting into?
Well, I'm really excited to go get back to work on my next project. Because like I said, being here, it's like a reinvigoration of creativity and motivation and ideas and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm really getting excited to go get back to work.
Yeah, a little bit for me as well, because I've been on vacation in Wyoming before this. Mini vacation here at my house, a staycation. Then it was Grant's birthday before that, so like I did some of the 30-day challenge stuff, and that was reinvigorating as well. But yeah, getting back into it is nice. Plus the kids have the last week of their summer vacation this week, and so they're going to be going back to school in person. So it'll be a different
Then
dynamic.
you won't have any excuse.
I won't have any excuse.
Nope.
I'm geeking out about the next couple hours before we have to leave. I have a little bit over 2 weeks, or probably less than that, before I have to go back to work as well. I'm not sure what those last 2 weeks are going to hold, but I'm looking forward to that with the family. But I'm also going to mention to all of you something I've already told them. There's a board game that I started playing with my family called The Last Defense. And if you and your family need a board game that is cooperative as opposed to competitive, I highly recommend it. It's fairly simplistic in gameplay. There's an app you use on your phone that will randomly generate where monsters go on the map that you have to defeat. And it's a lot of fun. And us winning and seeing my kids high five as like the sense of accomplishment was really cool. And while I've been gone these last 5 days, my wife had another family over. So they've been hosting people, and then all the kids played that and had the same effect and loved it. In fact, the mom ordered it right there while they were playing it. So called The Last Defense if anybody's interested.
That's cool. I'm excited to go actually fire up my new Onefinity CNC. I got it all put together, and I had to kind of not reroute, but like there's a mod you can do to clean up some of the wiring and stuff with drag changes. So I did all of that. So the prep work is done. And while I was here, I was trying to finish up a model for the wasteboard that I want to design. But yeah, I want to start cutting stuff on this new fancy machine that I have so that I can compare it to the old machine that I did have. So just because it's new and it's fun, like that's great. But is it better and new and fun? And that's what I'm excited to finally figure out.
Well, thank you guys for being here. When are we going to do this again? A year from now? 2 years from now?
Well, like I said, I'm
think?
hosting my next one. I'm
You're
hosting the next one. Although, admittedly, it'd probably be in conjunction with remodeling a room into a Breath of the Wild room or something like that.
Okay. Well,
So there'll be a little bit of hammering and painting involved.
that's fine.
Summer might inevitably work best for
Summer.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a retreat almost, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
And I'll have to figure out how to stage everybody at my house. Might just be tents in the backyard
Yeah.
because there's no room in the house.
I'm good with that.
So when I like to make stuff retreats, we get like a cabin.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it's kind of the same thing without like the personal intimate thing we were talking about earlier. But it does allow for like if you had something to teach or you had something to share. I was like, here's a little block of instruction over here. If you wanted to learn how to go do it, whatever, you go do it over there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of neat.
Something
It's
maybe we'll
the
talk about, too.
retreat.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
maker's retreat.
We'll get it figured out.
Yep.
Or even an excuse to get all the families together. That'd be kind of cool, too.
Yeah. That would be pandemonium, but it'd be cool
It would be.
pandemonium.
That'd be very interesting. As well.
Thank everybody in the live chat for hanging out with us. Brian, appreciate it, buddy.
Remember, you can find us every Saturday on your favorite podcast player of choice. So from all of us to all of you, have a great week.
I was hoping Josh would say that part.
Oh, sorry.
We're too used to our own machines.
We hope you have a fantastic week.
There it is.
Yeah.
See you guys.
See ya.
I wasn't going to interrupt. That would have been rude.